Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Karen.
So,
We're rolling.
yeah, we are. We are live. Sunday, September 17th. We just finished up at the gym.
Yep.
You want to give us an update on the last maybe 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, the last update that we did was August 31st, and it has not been an easy couple of weeks. So I kind of took the time away from shooting any updates. Some good stuff has happened, some great stuff has happened, but a lot of exhausting and frustrating stuff's happened too. The last thing I want to do is convey that on video. So I hadn't shot for that reason. But here we are at Anytime Fitness. Just finished a Sunday afternoon. Yep, Sunday afternoon workout. And kept it pretty light because yesterday's workout at the other gym, crunch here, was a bit strenuous. It was all heavy carries, some unilateral carries like suitcase carries and stuff like that. And I progressed the weight a couple of workouts ago. And was having a lot of coughing, and introduced some round the world, which was abdominal type exercise using kettlebells. And it combined with the coughing was creating some abdominal cramps that were really hard to manage. Biggie, juicy.
They've got some good music
There's some
playing
music
here.
going on today.
You can actually hear it here.
Yeah, it's not that goofy ass pop stuff that covers of like the Zombies by the Cranberries at the other club.
Yeah.
Anyways, commercial gym music typically sucks, but that's another conversation for another time. But as far as the last couple of weeks, it seems like while lung performance is going up, it comes at a cost. Mainly rib pain. So I had probably 12th rib, maybe 11th or 12th rib on the left side. Felt like it was wanting to pop out of place a few times. And it's been painful for the last couple of weeks or so. And last night, spiked the temp? Mm-hmm. Yep, spiked the temp last night. First serious temp in a long time.
Yeah.
Not sure what that was all about.
Got up to 102.4.
102.4. Usually my temps when they spike, they stay low grade. They stay under 100 degrees. Mm-hmm. Last night was the whole 9 yards. It was chills and shivers. I couldn't stay warm. Then I was too hot. I was restless and all that. And the fever finally broke with ibuprofen and Tylenol combined. After about 3 hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took a long time.
It took a while to come down. But anyway, first time in a long time that I needed to take ibuprofen and Tylenol together to manage a fever, but last night was the night. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not sure if that's exercise induced because sometimes the temperature will go up some after exercise for a few hours, or if something else is going on like a bug. I am taking antibiotics for, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's an infection. My neck, throat. We'll just call it tonsillitis, fancy tonsillitis. Tonsillitis with glitter. And taking clindamycin 150 milligrams twice a day. And not sure if it's working or not. Some days I feel better. Some days like last night I don't. And I've got a little bit less than a week remaining on that course. I think I complete the course on Friday of this week. Anyways.
We've had some significant weather changes.
That's another thing. Some significant weather changes, air quality, things like that. This part of Texas, this time of year, it goes from extremely hot to mildly temperate weather, but also after several months of not having significant rainfall, we got significant rainfall this past week for 2 straight days? Mm-hmm. In fact, one day it rained all day.
I think 2 days in a row
2 days in a row it rained all
day.
day. And that causes the humidity to jump up significantly. And I think that combined with warmer temperatures, high humidity, made it extremely difficult to want to do anything. And Friday, as a matter of fact, I had things I had planned on doing. Fortunately, none of them were super important, but I didn't get much of anything done. I spent most of Friday in bed, so I just didn't feel well. Don't know if it's the weather. Don't know if I've caught a bug or something. Who knows? But you take the good with the bad. One more thing, and then Karen will probably ask me a few questions before we close. Started walking again in the evenings with Karen more regularly, and it seems like walking distance has gone up while walking speed has also gone up, which means it takes me less time to cover more ground, it seems. And I think the last time she and I walked, we were right at 1.41 miles, just under a mile and a half, and we did that in about 45 minutes. Now this is on supplemental oxygen, by the way. And at the time, I think I was supplementing right around 4 liters just to walk with you outside. Yeah. But at home, I use the oxygen continuously, the continuous oxygen on the concentrator, kind of when I feel like it.
And then today,
you
actually titrated down to 1.
Titrated down from 1.5 liters per minute to 1 liter per minute, which is significant.
It is, because we had gone through the timeline. You were at 6 when you were inpatient in the hospital, and then they
UT.
got you down to 4 when you discharged.
Before they discharged me from the hospital to the rehab center.
And I remember being so excited at 4.
That was good news, yeah.
Yeah. And then, learning, I think the interesting part about all of this is that it hasn't been something that we've done on a schedule.
Yeah.
You get feedback from your body, and how does that work?
Oh yeah, it's the weirdest thing, because mind you, I've never experienced this before, but the question that we were asking early on in the beginning to nurses is, okay, so what's the protocol for titrating down? Because my objective ultimately has always been to use this thing as little as possible and ultimately get off of it if I can, if it's appropriate. Because there's a lot of negative stigma attached to walking around with one of these things, and I want to remove myself from it as best I can. But anyway, what I've noticed is that my body tells me at some point when a certain flow rate is too high, when it's no longer appropriate. So Karen used the example of 4 liters per minute when I discharged from the hospital, and the whole time I was at the rehab center they had me at 4 liters, and when I came home after about 6 weeks in the rehab center, I was still at 4. And there came a point where 4 liters of continuous oxygen just felt like somebody blowing constantly in your nose, and you couldn't handle all the extra air. So we tried turning it down to 3, I think it was. And that was a lot more comfortable.
And your SAT stayed good.
And SAT stayed good. That's always been an indicator whether or not what we're doing is appropriate, is if my saturations are stable. I consider that good. That's a win. And eventually 3 liters became uncomfortable after maybe a couple months. And we dialed it down to 2.5 maybe?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. And it stayed there for a good while. And then finally dialed it down to 1.5. 30 days ago roughly, maybe 40 days ago. And now we're at a point where we're sub 1.5. We're down to 1 liter per minute. Supplemental oxygen in the house as needed.
As needed, yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And then something significant today. We had gone to eat breakfast at a local restaurant.
Oh, that's a funny story. You're gonna laugh your ass off when you hear this. You wanna prompt that?
I'll prompt it. Yeah, so we had gone to breakfast at Happy's this morning, and after breakfast was over, we were going to sit and enjoy some coffee, and Kevin needed to use the facilities.
Yeah.
There was only one stall in the men's restroom, and it looked like it was going to be indefinitely occupied. The occupant had no desire to hurry up.
He was scrolling through his phone, and I know because I could see that enough to the crack in the door. He's sitting there just doing this. And I said, hey man, no rush, but how much longer do you think you got? And he didn't say a word one to me.
There was no answer.
Not that he was obligated, but just general courtesy. Someone needs these facilities. Can't do it. Gotta wait. So
I'm sitting at the table, and Kevin came back. He said, "Hey, honey, I need the keys." So he was going to take the car. He is not hooked up to his oxygen, because when we get to these restaurants, he's just fine sitting at the table without oxygen. So man walks out without his phone, without his oxygen, and took the keys, and he's going to go someplace and take care of business.
Next door.
And then go on.
So I got to the gas station that was next door to where we were eating, walked inside, politely told the clerk that I needed to use the restroom. He said it was out of order. Said I was welcome to go around the back of the building and take care of business there, and I told him it's not that kind of problem. So he said the next best thing you could do is go across the street to the restaurant that was on the other side of the street. It was a Popeye's Chicken. So I hopped back in the car, made it off the property, went across the street, parked my car in Popeye's parking lot, walked inside, and used their facilities. Their total time to get from where we were having breakfast to where I ended up getting to use the bathroom was probably about 5 minutes without oxygen, walking around, driving, and whatnot. And fortunately, all that happened without a mishap.
Yeah, but in all of it, so yeah, you were moving. Like you had
Moving with purpose.
I
was on a mission.
you had something you need to take care of urgently.
Yes, urgently.
And you did it without oxygen.
Without the scuba
Without
bag.
supplement oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got back to the table, you came in, put on your pulse ox that you left there at the table, and you were at 90.
90.
That was mind blowing.
It was mind blowing for me.
Yeah, it was like you took a test and you didn't even realize it was going to test you.
Yep, that's what it felt like. It felt like a real world test, a real world op, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the kind of stuff that I need to be able to see to reinforce that what I'm doing is making progress.
Yeah.
Feels good.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to
yeah.
bookmark it, right?
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Stick a fork in. I think this one's done.
Okay.
Good stuff. Thank you.
We will catch up again
We
next
will
time.
catch up. Love you guys.